Hello everyone, this is Grumpy Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of my Tekkit server. I'm going to show you a bunch of cool stuff in this episode. First of all, I'm going to show you the proof of concept tree farm right here. That's for harvesting rubber trees. It didn't work as well as I would have hoped. It didn't matter, it was just an experiment. I don't know why I built that big elaborate building for it, but I've got a second tree farm under construction. And it's actually about halfway done. It's fully operational. It's just not as automated as it could be, but we'll get to that in a little while. First thing I want to show you though is block breakers, because the block breakers are used in the first tree farm and they're used in the second. They're going to be used in the second tree farm. But what a block breaker does, it'll break any block directly in front of it, and spit it out the back. So if I right click there, all those blocks get thrown out the back. So that's a block breaker. They're pretty straightforward. Now I want to show you the control room for the tree farm, because this is a very good control setup. Well, I like it anyway. Now here's the on-off switch. There's a switch on the other side of that block. Turns the machine off and on. The other side of that block's inside the house. But what happens is the switch turns the timer off and on. This thing will spin around, and every time it gets to right here, it's going to throw a pulse out here into these state cells. Now if you're not familiar with state cells or how they work, you can watch the previous episode and it will explain state cells. But basically what they do is they put out a pulse when they get a signal. And I've got 4 stages. That's what I ended up with. I got green, yellow, blue, and white. Green stage plants the sapling, yellow stage fertilizes the sapling, blue stage will break the block, and white stage will harvest all the resources. Now one important thing to note is that blue stage, it's actually 170 seconds long. And so once I break the wood from the tree, I'll wait 170 seconds before I pick everything up, because I want to give the leaves time to despawn, so I'll make sure and get a sapling. But this is something I learned to do. It's called insulated wire. If you can look here, it's just insulated wire. Here's the recipes for it. It's pretty straightforward. It's red alloy ingots surrounded by wool, and whatever color wool you use determines what color wire you get. So we got 16 different colors. But the cool thing about this is that the wires will not touch. So if I was to put a green wire right here, it won't connect to the yellow wire because it's insulated. It's a different color. If I place the green wire down, it will connect to the green wire because it thinks I'm trying to extend the green wire. But if you notice, I have them spaced out, and the reason I got them spaced out because I wanted to put this red alloy here. That way I can see the stages more easily. I can see it's in stage 3 right now, and here in a second you can see it switch to stage 4, and this is going to cycle, and here in a second it'll go back to stage 1. There you go. But another thing I like about this bundled wire, first of all, this is color coded, so it makes it easier to remember what wire does what. But the third thing I like about it, which is actually the coolest part, is you can run it into bundled cable. This is bundled cable. So what happens is all these colored wires, they go inside this bundled cable, and they're actually all 4 wires are going upstairs because they're in the bundled cable. It's just like the real world. If you were going to make a bundled cable, it works the same way. So what happens is on the other end, you'll just split off the colors as you need them. But next I'm going to show you the harvesting area. That's this up here. Okay, this deployer right here, if I was to put saplings in there, it's connected to the green wire. When the green fires off, it'll plant the tree. The yellow wire would fertilize the tree. That's the part that doesn't work. Just one test I should have done. Deployers cannot fertilize a tree sapling. So basically this machine is not going to do what I wanted to do. But that's fine. No, I learned a whole lot. I learned how to use block breakers, deployers, bundled wires, and I also learned how to gather with Obsidian pipes. If you notice, all this stuff's going to fall on the floor. The machinery to pick it up is actually beneath this floor. It'll suck the stuff out through the floor. But anyway, that's the first 2 stages. Third stage would be blue. It would fire off these block breakers and create it and knock down all the wood. All the wood's going to fall down here. Now I put all the glass around. That's just to make sure that all the stuff falls vertically so it doesn't spit it out the side of the building. And if you look inside the tube, there's also signs in there. What that's for is to keep leaf blocks from spawning or inside that tube whenever you fertilize the tree or plant it. This machine, I could get to work. I'd either have to use the equivalent exchange, which would allow this machine to pump out a tree like every 2 or 3 minutes. But I don't like equivalent exchange, so I'm not going to do that. The other option is just to let the tree grow naturally, and that's kind of random. I could use some kind of a bud switch, and that would tell me whenever the tree grew, and I'd probably end up with like 5 or 6 or 7 trees per hour, and it's like, it would work, but honestly, I was like, I'm not happy with this design, but I learned quite a bit from doing it, and that's why I'm showing it to you. Now, here's the final stage, the white wire. The white wire powers up this steam engine. Steam engine powers the obsidian pipe. And here's the way this works. Normally when you throw something on the ground next to a steam engine, it will not pick it up. If you were to throw something above it, it won't pick it up unless it falls directly into the pipe. That's kind of a glitched looking, but it actually went inside the steam engine. But if we give this thing power with like a redstone engine, it will gather in a 3x3 pattern above it. If we power it with a steam engine or a combustion engine, it will gather in a huge cone that extends above this floor up here. So this thing will gather everything that falls on that floor. I have a better visual representation of this. I'll go show it to you. It's down here. Okay, let me climb up here and I can show it to you. Okay, this is the cross section. Imagine this bottom block here, the stone block. Imagine that's the obsidian tube. When I was telling you, when it gets power from an engine, steam engine, it will gather in a huge cone above it. So this is the 3x3 area directly above it. This represents the floor, and this row right here represents the area above the floor, and then finally we got one more level above that. And this thing will gather anything inside this cone. And the reason we make sure it extends up 2 levels above the floor is because we have machinery on the floor. Like let's say the sapling despawned and it fell on top of the deployer. The obsidian pipe will not pick it up unless we extend it up here. So let me go back and show you the cone one time. As you can see, the cone will cover the area. So that's why we did that way. But finally, we're going to show you the new tree farm here. It's still under construction. Look, right now it already works. It's a lot of fun to operate it, and we've been getting tons and tons and tons of resources. We're already throwing wood on the ground. You can see right here, we've already got a double chest. We've got tons of rubber in the house. We've got a ton of resources, but this is the same concept. This is part of the reason I showed you the other tree farms, is because I'm using concepts here that I learned on the first tree farm. So I've got 9 obsidian pipes here in a 3x3 pattern, and let me show you this upstairs. By the way, here's the on-off switch for it. I'll see, make sure I got some. I always forget to leave that machine on, so I'm going to automate this further, but for right now, I have to manually put coal inside these, or charcoal. They're going to run off charcoal. What you're going to do is you're going to get a lot of trees, and you're going to use a small percentage of it to make charcoal and repower these engines. Sorry, it sucks. I forgot to leave the switch on, and it just used up all the charcoal. Now, one thing I'm going to automate, I'm going to have a system where it automatically refills these engines. I'm going to have to do it manually right now. Doesn't really take too long, but it's cool if you can just flip a switch and fill them all up at once. Now, I'm just putting 1 piece of charcoal in each right now, because I'm just going to show you how this works. Okay. Now it's the distribution system, or I'm sorry, the collection system. All these obsidian pipes to gather stuff off the floor, and they just go into the piping system, and it all comes out and goes into this chest I'm pointing at. Now I have to put iron valves everywhere, and what these do is just make sure that everything goes in the proper direction. So let's say the materials come down this pipe and they get to the iron pipe, they automatically know to go this way. If I did not have this iron pipe here, half the time the blocks would go this way and half the time they'd go this way, and stuff would just start bouncing around all the pipes. So the iron pipes just make sure that everything goes in this direction. So there's basically 3 rows of pipes, and they're all feeding stuff in this direction. And then once they get down here, same thing here. I got diamond pipes to make sure everything goes this way. Same thing here, and it all goes in that chest. Now I put gold pipes everywhere because apparently after stuff goes through an iron pipe, it seemed like it slowed down quite a bit. So I just got gold on the output of all the iron pipes. But this thing's pretty darn quick. I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. Now, next, let's go upstairs. Now, first thing I'm going to do is plant a bunch of jungle trees. You can plant any kind of trees you want. If you just want a massive amount of wood and you don't care what kind of tree it is, like you don't care about the color of the planks, you can just plant a ton of jungle trees and get more wood than you know what to do with. But I want you to take a note of how long it takes me to plant all these. I'm going to fertilize them too. There we go. They're all planted. Now I just got to fertilize them. Yeah, if anybody didn't know how to grow these, this is how you just plant 4 saplings you plant 4 saplings in a 2x2 pattern, then you can fertilize any one of the saplings and you'll instantly get a big tree. Fertilizing takes no time at all. And here in a second I'll spin around and show you what all the trees look like. Okay, you can see that's a lot of tree. And so what's going to happen now is I'm going to turn on this machine here, and this machine is running off solar powered. What I'm doing is I have a tutorial. It's called solar powered quarry. Normally most of these blocks run off with combustion engines or steam engines or whatever. You can use what's called an energy link to convert the electrical energy into mechanical energy, and that's what setup I have here. So if you want to know about how the power works, just watch that episode. It's called Solar Powered Quarry via Energy Link. But it'll explain how this works. But this thing's getting all the power it needs. This machine cannot be completely automated. What you want to do, what this filter will do, it actually has a couple modes. First of all, I put it on a mode where it's just going to fill every square inside this cube, or every block inside this cube with air, and all the blocks will just fall to the ground. So you can do that by putting glass in here. If I fill this up with glass and then reset it, it's going to just harvest everything, or not harvest it but knock it down. So let's go ahead and do that. Pick it up, set it down, and that resets it. And it's going to take this thing a minute, but it's going to go get all this stuff. And right now it's just all falling on the floor. Now Minecraft doesn't draw stuff way off in the distance, so you can't see it, but the entire floor is getting covered with wood and saplings right now. But anyway, I don't want to get too technical with this filler. It really needs its own tutorial episode, and if you want to see that, there's plenty of videos out there. But basically this is how you use it to knock down blocks inside of a giant cube. You have to manually do that step right there. You can't connect pipes to it. If you connect pipes to it and like try to suck these out and replace them, what's going to happen is it's going to operate on this area. You can only change this area by manually picking up a block and setting it down, and the thing doesn't use redstone power. So the only way to reset this machine, pick a block up, set it back down. Now here's something I want to show you. I've got 2 medium voltage solar arrays here now, because I have an oven down there right now. What the oven's going to do, or the furnace, it's going to make charcoal for me to power up all these engines. So basically all I got to do, put a stack of charcoal in there, or a stack of wood in there. It's going to make some charcoal, As you can see, that thing's pretty fast. That thing is actually running at maximum efficiency. That's 13 overclocked is the most you can have in an electric furnace. Well, you can actually have up to 16, but anything above 13 will not give you a performance boost. Okay, this right here is our collection chest. It's empty right now. I went ahead and emptied it out because I want you to see how much resources we're going to get just off this one cycle. You can see right here we already got a wood chest here full of wood. I'm actually throwing it on the ground now. We've got more rubber than we know what to do with. This thing works great. So it's actually already almost done. So let me go ahead and start it up and show you. I want to show you how fast this stuff zips through the system. Now each stroke of an engine, steam engine will, Obsidian pipe powered by a steam engine will suck out like 10 or 15 blocks per engine stroke. That's how you can kind of see it's coming in bursts of 10 to 15 blocks. That's why. But it only takes this thing like 15, maybe 20 seconds. Normally you can just start this machine up and then go up there and activate the filler. But what you want to do is make sure and turn this thing off whenever you're done harvesting, because if you leave it on, you're going to burn up all your charcoal like I just did. There was 20 something pieces in there a little while ago and I just forgot to turn it off. Now I'm going to automate this thing further. A couple things I'm going to do is, one, I'm going to have a system that automatically feeds charcoal into the engines, but secondly, I'm going to have deployers up here that will automatically plant the saplings. I won't get too technical with it, but for reasons I'm not going to get too technical with, I'm also going to need block breakers up here. You'll see why in the next episode. There's no reason to explain it. But anyway, this is my tree farm. Hopefully I'll finish it up in the next episode, but this is the final product. It produces massive amounts of resources. It's fun. You can put whatever kind of trees you want up there. Mainly I will explain this. Normally what this thing was going to do is I was going to plant one of those giant rubber tree saplings on here. Supposedly they take 1 to 6 hours to grow. That's not true. Sometimes they can take several days to grow. So it's like that wasn't working out. So we're going back to this method. I'm going to plant all these trees, and honestly this is I can't fully automate it, but it's going to be 100 times faster than going out in the woods. But anyway, let me go ahead and turn this back off. Here's what we got from one pass. We got over 70 saplings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 and a half stacks of wood. And imagine how long it would take you to chop all that down. This really didn't take that long. But we sit there and have fun with this thing. We did it over and over. But anyway, if you have any suggestions, something you'd like to see me build, let me know. And if I know how to do it, or I think it's a cool idea, I'll try it. Honestly, if I don't know how to do it, or I just think the idea is not that good, I won't do it. But you got any questions or anything like that, let me know. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time. It's Grumpy Gamer.